excess emissions into our atmosphere, such as CO2 and methane, are responsible for adverse reactions to the climate and, in essence, global warming. This is because gases are trapped out by the atmosphere like a blanket. This mechanism is fundamentally different from that of an actual greenhouse. Greenhouse effect is a process by which thermal radiation from a planetary surface is absorbed by atmospheric greenhouse gases and is re-radiated in all directions. The next concept is negative externalities. A negative externality is a cost associated with an economic activity that is paid by a third party. Pollution is an example of a negative externality because someone other than the driver of a car or automobile bears part of the cost, as, for example, emissions to the atmosphere. Another example is cigarettes. It is a negative externality because it incurs a cost to the second-hand individual and the atmosphere. It's diagram time. Get her done. Okay, now this diagram right here is a negative externality diagram in which the marginal social cost is equal to marginal private cost at this line, and then marginal social benefit of smoking cigarettes is lower than marginal private benefit, and that's why it is a negative externality, the cost to the third party. It's done. Now we're talking about government intervention. The 1988 Toronto Conference on Changing the Environment. This conference was attended by 48 different nations that favored implementing government regulations, including India and China. The conference demanded an immediate cut in CO2 emissions by 2005 to 80% of their original 1988 level. This would have required a major reduction in worldwide output. 1997 Kyoto Protocol Conference on Climate Change made the same, if not more specific, modifications. The next slide is CNG. CNG stands for compressed natural gas, the same as we use in stoves. CNG burns clean and has no carbon emissions or acids going into your oil. The utilization of CNG is a big thing in India, currently in Delhi. It's an example of a voluntary action. The next slide is Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA. The EPA rules for reformulation on gasoline and have increased gasoline costs to RFG standards. Although this resulted in leakages of a type of ethanol, however, this was then changed to allow a lot more flexibility on RFG standards. EPA standards have left supplies of gasoline vulnerable to disruption. Therefore, is government intervention justified?